Hi guys, today's lesson is over subtracting integers with algebra tiles. We first need to answer the question, what does the minus sign mean? Okay? And here's what the minus sign is going to mean. It could mean subtract, could mean take away, could mean minus, or it could mean the opposite of. Okay? But all these meanings here mean the same thing. Subtract, take away, minus, the opposite of, they mean the same thing. Okay? All right, let's take a look at an example. And again, if you need to write these down here, please do so and pause. Here are the steps you guys are going to take today in solving integers that involve subtraction. First, you're going to start on the left and build the number of tiles you see. And then your second step is going to be subtract using one of the key words above, or the key phrases here for subtraction, okay? Let's go over an example. Here's what I'm talking about. Our first one here is 5 take away 4. Well, if you say, Mr. Alvarado, doesn't that mean 5 minus 4? Yep, that means the same thing as 5 take away 4, okay? All right, or 5 subtract 4. Let's look how we're going to represent this with algebra tiles. First, we're going to start here, again, on the left. And on the left here, it tells us that there are 5 positive tiles, which are blue tiles here. All right? I'm going to start with 5 tiles. And now, it's really important when you see subtraction here to read the sign correctly here. It says 5 take away 4. Or 5 minus 4, 5 subtract 4. So what would that look like? Well, if I had 5 and I wanted to take away 4 positives, because that's what it's saying there, take away 4 positives, I can take the 4 away, and what I'm left with here is 1 positive. All right? So my answer to 5 take away 4, or 5 minus 4, is equal to 1. And again, I just used one of the key words there, take away, subtract, to find my answer there, okay? Again, really important that you understand how to read the signs. All right, let's take a look at another example. All right, the next one here, is -7, and I'm going to start with 7 of the red tiles here. 7 of the red tiles. Why? Because it says -7. All right? And so as I build this, I now have -7 tiles. But now I have to take away 3, okay? Or I have to subtract 3, all right? Or I have to minus 3. There's also another way you can read this problem here. And you notice that one of the other, some of the other key words in what does minus mean is the opposite of. And here's how I like to read it. Doesn't mean you have to. We're starting out here with -7. If I were to ask you to read this sign as the opposite of, what is the opposite of 3? Well, you would tell me the opposite of 3 is -3. If I asked you that question, the opposite of 3. And here's where you may have seen before the adding the opposite from your teachers in the past. So if I asked you, okay, what's the opposite of 3? You would tell me that it's -3, and that is how we are getting our adding the opposite. And so now we can change it here from a subtraction to an addition, or I'm going to add the opposite. The opposite of 3 is -3, and now I'm going to add 3 more red tiles here. So now I see here that I have -7 tiles. The opposite of 3 is -3, so I added 3 red tiles, or 3 more red tiles, and now altogether I see here that I have 10 of the red tiles, which would be -10. Okay? So don't forget the opposite of, you might hear that a lot. In fact, we'll take a look at one more problem where you might use the opposite of as your language for subtraction here, minus take away. All right, this next one, I'm going to start with 5. 5 blue. Again, I don't see a negative sign out in front of the 5, so I know that it is positive there. I'm going to start with 5 blue tiles here. All right, and now it says I'm going to take away -4. Well, I don't see any tiles here that I can take away. I can't take away -4 right now. I don't see that on my paper. But if I were to ask you, what is the opposite of -4, you would tell me that that is +4. Okay? So the opposite of -4 is +4. So again, where we come here now to the concept of adding the opposite. So now I have 5, and I'm going to add the opposite of -4, which is +4. Okay? So now I have my 5 blue tiles. And now I know the opposite of -4 is +4. And I see now that my answer here is +9. Okay? Again, sometimes this gets a little bit tricky here. All right? But the opposite of -4 is +4. I now all have blue tiles here. So my answer is 9. Okay? Guys, this might be a video where you have to go back and rewatch some things, so please do so if you need to. Thank you.